convulsing and letting out so much emotion at being at the Taylor Swift concert. It reeks of Beatlemania to me. So, you know, we know like Beatles were like created by Tavistock. They called it the primal scream when these girls started like screaming at the Beatles concert, the Taylor Swift concert. Now, obviously, Rachel's been doing all this discovery and stuff around these portals, right? So she puts this up, and there was another one, and you got like the Black Priestesses here too. See the three people on stage, and they're highlighting this portal. There was another one, I think, from the Sydney show where it was red, but then even Melbourne itself. Sorry, the MCG, right? Because you spoke about them being portals.
But when it was first built, they wanted to light it up bright red and orange. No reason why. They didn't say why. But they wanted it so when bright red and orange, they wanted to light it up at night so that when ships were coming in to the ports, they would see this building from the water. So again, you've got this reference to the water and the ships coming in and docking. They want to be able to see this bright red building. There's no comment about this. The only reason they didn't do it, and the comment was because it could result in the murder of the moon part of it. And that's how I found the whole Marduk narrative. So it's so interesting to me today that Jason's just done a story on the whole Tiamat Marduk, because it's the creation story. This is where the book of Genesis has copied the Enuma Elish, the ancient Babylon narrative of how this whole creation started. And the shrine screams of the creation story. So it's got exactly 6,000 tons of granite. 6,000 people worked on it. It took 6 years to build, but it took 7 overall, so 1 day of rest. So it's just riddled with this creation stuff. And then it really led back to this whole Marduk narrative, who destroyed Tiamat, the chaotic water dragon, which is the phoenix. So it's showing us a whole reset story.
All I can think of is Project Apollo. All those in the deep, dark moments of COVID when Peter and Andrew said, Project Apollo, we're going.
Bring in Apollo from the north back down. And because they did, there was 17 Apollo missions, which is significant, because they say, like even the 17th book of the Bible is like the book of Esther, and it's all about flipping and reversing everything. And then that goes into Osiris, which is like born and died on the 17th, which is basically like Apollo anyway. So that's kind of why I thought that there's this energetic transfer from the north to the south. And they've always spoken that the southern hemisphere will be the safest in a coming reset. And so that even ties into Antarctica and that kind of stuff. So it just looks like they're transferring that energy specifically, because like with Taylor Swift, that the peak of her fame was highlighted at the Super Bowl, right? That was when she hit absolute stardom of like just next level. And then the moment she goes from the Super Bowl, so Vegas, then comes down to Melbourne straight away. I had to bring these female artists down to Melbourne. After I was listening to Michael Tazarian, he did this presentation on the female Illuminati, and it was all to do with hiding the occult knowledge of fertility. That's where it stems from. And the counteraction of the so-called patriarchy was actually like a rebuttal to the women holding the knowledge of fertility. So it's like this whole dark. It would make sense, right, that they've come to Melbourne.
Cover names at Trustful.
The Trustful.
Yeah, that's a very common name, but they've both got. So Julian Assange documentary, Ousting Everything, apparently, is Trustful, and Pink's album is Trustful.
Yeah, right. So there's that reference again. And plus Assange is from Melbourne.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. It's mental. But so this all came back to, so that light show, obviously just those photos that we saw, so we do find them, chuck in the chat or whatever, or didn't find them. One was that the portal, the shrine portal, like that light beam that we didn't see on the first light. It really is, like the whole entrance of it is lit up like it's a portal summoning something. I don't know what they're projecting from it. And then we'll find that picture of this AI creature that they had promoting this event. But then I went back to the shrine board, and what I started reading was how they excavated the site to clear everything to build this site. And they made reference, they planted trees from all around the world that referenced, soldiers that had fallen and sacrificed. So they planted all the trees, one that represented every country that was involved in the wars. The last one that was planted, and this is the only one they made a point of, is the olive tree that was from Palestine. And straight away, I'm like, oh, how weird is that? And that's the one tree they're making a mention of. And that's it, nothing else on that, just the last tree that was planted, olive tree from Palestine.
I'm very pleased that the last thing I say as PM is here. And there is no fruit on the vines if the yield of the olive oil fails, and if the fields produce no food, even if the flock disappears from the fold and there are no cattle in the stalls. Yet I will triumph for the Lord.
Western countries are going to be the target for the next 4 years, predominantly. So it's like this ritual that's playing out again the exact same weekends when Taylor Swift and Blink-182 were all here. So that Blink-182 concert has got the background, it's a Phoenix event. It's got the sun darkening, the sun goes black and the moon turns blood red, while people are running terrified and being attacked by beings, being stabbed by beings.
Yeah.
This is the background of their concert, of a song called Violence.
You're still alive out there? Good. Good. Welcome to the here and now on Beautiful Freaks and Dirty Underdog. Is this a simulation? Simulation. I knew I'd see you again.
What the fuck?
It was breaking up a bit. But she asks them if they're still alive out there, aren't they? Because there were heaps of people collapsing at the concert because it's really hot as a bitch. And then talk starts going into how it's a simulation and she knew she'd see you again. That's how much she's spoken. Yeah, it's bizarre. But yeah, they've got this ritual of Pink being here, Blink-182, with that, of course, Taylor Swift's concert. So she's got that album being released. Tortured Poet Society is her album. It's being released on April 19th. Now, if you look into anything with April 19, you'll see there's so much history about that being a really dark day. Lots of major events and attacks happen on April 19. So look, why are you promoting it? So you put a specific date for Tortured Soul Society like this, because even was it the torch thing? The torch for the French Olympics. That's a female face on it. You think, why on earth is that there? Because it's very distinctive lips and it's a hairline. It's a female torch. The last land activist in Australia. So he was an Aboriginal. They had a massive. The Coranberg station in Hillsville was a really successful Indigenous station. So they had schools, shops, they were completely independent. It was huge. And I'm tipping the timing of the Little Hats taking over Australia being the late 1800s. They were trying to take this land back so that they couldn't have this control and independence, and of course them taking over Australia. And they need all these land masses back. So this one guy that was the prominent activist against them doing that was William Barrett, or Barrett, however you pronounce his surname. And that's the face they've now carved, staring over the shrine, which is more presumed acquired land of a sacred Aboriginal burial ground. Because the shrine has been built as a ziggurat, well, the Temple of Marduk was a ziggurat, and a lot of references that they've put onto the shrine have got a similarity from Temple of Marduk. And so it's this full creation story, but of course Marduk being Babylon. I think it's the first video. It said, I feel like they're recreating Babylon in Melbourne. And that's what that shrine was to represent. That's their new, not necessarily maybe not their temple, but again, it's got this similarity to Solomon's temple, was built in seven years. Shrine, I claim, was built in 7 years. So it's just keep tying it back to this real creation story, which is why I think over the next, between now and 2040, all these seal events is going to tie this building in completely. Because I think that's what they built it for.